Unique thing about emotions. Emotions is what gives us the drive. Emotions is the spirit. Emotions is the life. It isn't just knowledge that makes you wealthy. It's knowledge mixed with feelings and attitudes and emotions. The surge of feelings and emotions. But here's the key. Our emotions need to be educated. We've got to send emotions to school. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotions. You've got to have the drive. Without the power, you don't get anywhere. But now we've got to have the power well educated and well directed. But that's what it takes in the final art of persuasion, putting yourself into the picture. Passion, emotion, beliefs, convictions. If you can learn to articulate those well, if you'll learn to let that flow, not just from the surface, but from down deep, from a lifetime of experience, if you'll draw from all of those feelings and commitments and awareness, even with some misgivings, even with not knowing it all, even with a sense of humility, but it's that flow of emotion that finally now seals the point in the final art of persuasion, when people have picked up the essence that you really believe and are committed to what you've been talking about, and that's why you laid it on the line. That's why you borrowed every quote you could borrow. That's why you said it as well as you could say it. That's why you told every story you could. That's why you used yourself front and center. It's because you so passionately believe in the moment and what you're trying to accomplish in the way of decision-making in touching somebody else's life. I want to review. I was here last time, and we talked about the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. And I just want to review those because it lays such a good foundation for all the rest that I want to share with you today. We got a lot of subjects to cover, so we're going to go rather swiftly, okay? Put on your mental track shoes here and run with me today, because I'm going to deal mostly in concepts. Expect you to, fill in a lot of the details, because I've got a lot to share. I want to get through it all. But let's lay this foundation again of the 5 major pieces. Happens to be the title of my latest book. But I think it is so valuable in laying a foundation. It's some of the things I learned between ages 25 and 30. The teacher who taught me so well. He dealt in these fundamentals, we call these. Fundamentals. We call these basics. Basics for sports, fundamentals for sports, fundamentals for your business, fundamentals for the way you deal with your family, a few simple things. Few basic things that if you practice every day can make all the difference in the world, how it works out. I boiled it down to 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Let's just review those. Number 1 is philosophy. Philosophy, as I taught the last time I was here, philosophy, in my personal opinion, is the major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy, the major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy. To form our philosophy, you got to think. You got to use your mind. You got to process ideas. And this whole process over a lifetime, starting way back here when we were children, schools that we've attended, our parents, our experiences, all this stuff that we've processed by the thinking process helps to develop our philosophy. And in my opinion, each person's personal philosophy is the major factor in how your life works out. Here's what I called it in that last presentation when I was here. It's called the set of the sail. Each person's personal philosophy is like the set of the sail. Now, I used to think it was circumstances that ordered my life. If someone would have asked me at age 25, Mr. Rohn, how come you're not doing well? Pennies in your pocket, creditors calling, nothing in the bank, behind on your promises to your family, you live in America, 25 years old, got a beautiful family, every reason to do well, and things are not going that well for you. What is wrong here? It would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy.
I don't think you're just making excuses. I think that cellular energy is going to be what you need to focus on. And I can't tell you how much I hate that I have to pay attention to my body in order to achieve the things that I want to achieve. I want to just be able to work around the clock. But I know if I try to do that, I won't be cognitively optimized and I won't have the energy that I need. So when I go give talks, oftentimes I'll end up after the talk answering questions. And my record is I once stood in a hallway with whatever, 50 people around me, answering questions without even stopping to pee for 11 and a half hours. Now, by the end of it, people were like, how the hell are you doing this? And the answer was, because there are two types of energy. There's psychological energy, right? You're exhausted, right? Imagine it. Oh, you know those days you're wiped out, but you got that one song. You put that song on and you still got a little ass shaking left in you. And you can just feel it. It changes your mood. You're ready to get up. You're ready to get down. That's psychological energy, okay? We can actually make you suddenly feel like you have this burst of energy. The other part, the one that won't let you down, is real cellular energy. Now, within your cells are a whole bunch of these things called mitochondria. Mitochondria are separate little organelles, okay? They have their own DNA. They are not you, but they are inside your cells, and they are the power plant of your body. And if you don't do things to push your mitochondria to stay razor sharp, productive, to proliferate, you just won't be able to generate the energy. This is why I'm always telling people, you are having a biological experience. Whatever this is, your body may have been given to you by God, fair enough, but He gave you a body. And now you have to deal with the realities of going through life in a body that if you're not eating right, you're not exercising, you will not be able to generate the ATP, which makes you feel like you can go and conquer mountains and do whatever you want. But if you really don't have the energy, then that's a nightmare. This goes back to being tired is a unique ring of hell. It is just absolutely miserable. So you're going to have to get your diet right, which is probably the number one thing. To get your energy levels up at a cellular level, you got to get your diet right. And then to really push things, you want to start exercising. And then another one, going back to one of our early questions, cold exposure is another way to get your vascular system going, to get your ability to generate ATP up high, because cold exposure has a tremendous impact on your mitochondria. Okay, so getting that right, I think, is going to solve a lot of problems for you. And you may even need to go and get your thyroid levels checked. Like, there's really could be a lot going on biologically. So to put it all into the language of a habit, you're going to go to bed early, however early you need to go to bed to not set an alarm. Number two, when you wake up, don't eat. You're going to work out fasted, okay? I would highly recommend that you lift weights rather than doing a bunch of cardio. And then next, meditation. You'll be shocked how far that goes. And then we want to get some cold exposure in there if we can. That would be a really great way to get you going. And as far as diet goes, making sure when you do eat and try to do intermittent fasting so that you have, call it a 16-hour fasting window and an 8-hour feeding window. And so you're going to push your first meal back to post-workout. And then when you eat, you're going to make it whole foods. So you're going to be eating green leafy vegetables. You're going to be eating meat. If you eat meat, that's absolutely fine. No processed foods. If you can avoid it, you should be less than 10% of what you eat should be processed. Obviously, 0 is the ideal. But realistically, if you can make less than 10% of it processed, you're going to be golden. If you do that all the time, you are going to feel like $1,000,000. You just cannot overestimate how big of a deal sleep, diet, and exercise make. It is life-changing, and it's the one thing most people aren't willing to do. But if you want cellular energy, that's the habit you're going to have to get in. Word.
But society, parents, whoever have set the standard for you to not play it safe, take risks. What if you lose? What if you lose? Who cares? As long as you don't die, you can come right back.
He said, what do you want? What's your passion? What are you trying to accomplish? You can't formulate a plan and figure out the steps unless you know where you're trying to go. How can you go somewhere if you don't know where you're trying to go?
And so the fighter jet mentality is that someone who is just determined, relentlessly obsessed in achieving an outcome in the face of all adversity.
So if you miss any assignments or fail any test, you have very little hope of passing his class. But you will pass this class, and you will pass it with flying colors. Because you, my friend, are an academic hustler. And thus you put in the time, the effort, and ask all the right questions to make sure all of your bases are covered. The vultures will hate. You tried to give them vision, but they never put on the right frames. And thus their sight was blurry, and their gray reflected it.
Stop blaming others. Stop blaming people for the reasons you find yourself in now. Stop blaming your situation. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming the government. Stop blaming your genetic. Stop blaming your finances. Stop blaming your past. Claw yourself back into the light.
This is my one-way ticket to my dreams. Your struggle is your gift.
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a tourism mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken.
Let's go. You got money, but do you got that dog? Yeah, you got money, you got privilege, but do you got that dog?
You are the example now. You are the man to reshape the culture of your world.
Do you got that stamina? So yeah, you might have something I don't have right now.
If failure was not on the table, do you realize that 87% of people allow the fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed?
Failure is required. Success is optional.
You never go back down. It's all about taking your baseline that you operate on and raising it and challenging yourself and pushing yourself. How you do anything is how you do everything. It's those little things, the little decisions that you make every single day, as small as it seems, that create an environment in your head of what it is you're becoming. Are you a finisher, a quitter? What are you? How you do anything is how you do everything. Remember tomorrow.
A lot of folks talk so much about, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. It's the mind that is lacking. It's trying to find that easy way out. You're thinking too much off the bat.
Anybody can do anything they set their mind to. But it depends on how bad you want it.
With enough persistence, most things that seem impossible become possible.
You just have to show up and show out so often. Time after time, you gotta wake up and you gotta drive. You gotta be driven to go get something done now. You gotta be willing to stand on your beliefs. Because a lot of times, you're the only one who can see it.
Then you've got a chance. Because then, my friends, when that obstacle comes before you, you will muster the force that you need to destroy that obstacle.